Hello, cast. Happy Thursday to you. I have a lot to say and very little time to say it in, so here we go. I do want to draw some attention to the Second Vatican Council and show you how eerily relevant it is to right now and what your responsibility is in that. So to jump right into it, the first 4 paragraphs of Ad Gentes basically are praising and demanding and requesting and praising that we get out there and preach the good news. The first 4 paragraphs are loaded with this language, but I'm just going to conclude with the very last line that says that the bishops should give special consideration to missionary activity, which is, ready, the greatest and holiest task of the church. Missionary activity, which is the greatest and holiest task of the church. 3,000 bishops came together and wrote this. 2 bishops don't agree on anything, and somehow 3,000 got together and said this. They're responding to the Great Commission to go out there and preach the good news. I've talked about it before at the end of Matthew 28. When Jesus sees his disciples doubting, he says, you got to get out there and preach the good news. 3,000 bishops echoed this part of the gospel. It must be pretty important. So what I'm saying is right now, there's all kind of skirmishing. And I think with the turmoil around us, rather than address it, rather than going out there, people are doing, specifically Catholics are doing the things that Catholics are so guilty of doing sometimes. We see all these problems out here. We should be addressing these problems. So what do we say? The priest should be doing more. The bishop should be saying more. This right here is saying, you go be a missionary, right? It doesn't excuse any behavior from anywhere else, but they're saying you need to get out there. And you know what? I think they're right. Too many times I hear, especially in the light of the turmoil going on right now, the biggest debate going on is what language the Mass should be in. I don't think so. And just to defend what language the Mass should be in, I say if you're in a Holy Roman Catholic Church here in the United States, and there's gold and organ music and all that, it should be fit for a king. It should be a wedding and a meal and a sacrifice fit for a king. It should be. Use that organ music. But if you're on mission like you should be, going throughout the world to preach the good news, you probably can't drag a pipe organ up the side of a mountain. See what I'm saying? In that case, the Second Vatican Council gave us permission to use what we have to make a meal fit for a king, maybe outdoors or in a spot that they're not ready for, not prepared for like we are in the States. I hope that makes some sense to you. So anyway, I draw some attention to that because the Second Vatican Council is eliminating the word, and this is the second part of the talk here. So that was part 1, this will be part 2. The Second Vatican Council is eliminating the word they and replacing it with you. Too many times, again, we're pointing at who they should do that. We see a pothole in the street, right? They should fix that pothole. You and I know well enough at this point, the government's not coming anytime soon, right? It's you. You have a problem with something, you need to try and address it, okay? So what I'm saying is right now, in the church, we have a real issue on our hands, one that I wonder if you've thought about yet. When quarantine is officially over, when we can all go back to church, I don't think when those doors open that people are going to come rushing back in. I'm just being honest. The evidence I have for this is found in the Catholics that I know and the Catholic that I've been. Basically, it looks like this. Most people are currently unaware of the fact that on Fridays, it is still a very Catholic practice to not eat meat. That's still a thing. The problem is that we're told that if we are in a situation where abstaining from meat is not possible, we have the option to increase our fasting or our almsgiving. However, when Catholics are faced with a decision that they don't like, and they're given a few options, we choose none of them. Have you seen this in your everyday Friday life? Of course. I've been to La Fonda's. I've had the Don Briggs. I've had the big steak at La Fonda's on a Friday night, right? And I've chosen none of them. This is how we do sometimes in cultural Catholicism. What scares me about that is our current situation. Our bishop said, look, you have a dispensation from the Eucharist right now. If you can't go, that's fine. But you do need to make a spiritual communion, or you do need to watch Mass on TV. I can't help but think that once again, us as Catholics, now that we're given a decision between 3 things that we don't feel like doing, we're going to see a lot of people choosing none of them. And that's where you come in. They don't need to do anything about it. you do. I think if we're going to see people coming back to church, it's going to be because you brought them there. I don't think waiting on them, waiting on an organization that now has less money, less resources, has big problems on their hands outside of evangelizing, I don't think they're going to do it. So we're starting up meetings again. I have one next week before we figure out how we're going to tackle the fall. Things may look a little different. We've had a great strategy for 3 years with CAST, and I'd like to maintain those things best we can. But some things are going to have to change if we're going to bring people back to Jesus. If we're going to have men, women, wives, families sitting in front of Jesus, begging him, what do you want of me, Lord? Our strategy is going to have to change a little bit, and it's going to be more personal, which is okay, because I think that's how it's supposed to be in the first place. So I can't wait to meet with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I love you. See you next Thursday.